All right, let's get right into it. We've all been hearing about AI that can write an email or create an image, but what Google is working on with Gemini 3.0, well, that's something else entirely. We're talking about a whole new era of AI, one that's not just generative, but truly operational.
So just think about this for a second. What if, instead of an AI just suggesting a plan, it could actually do the work for you? I mean, from the very first step to the last. That's the huge promise of what we're digging into today.
And this is really the headline here. This isn't just a slightly better version of what we already have. No, Gemini 3.0 is a fundamental shift in what we even use AI for. We're moving from a creative sidekick to a truly autonomous worker. So what really makes this thing tick? What's so different about it? Let's break down this massive leap from the AI we know today to what's just around the corner. Okay, so here's the big change in a nutshell. The AI we're used to is basically an amazing instruction taker. You give it a very specific command and boom, it gives you a response. But Gemini 3.0? It's designed to be an autonomous partner. You just give it a high-level goal and it figures out all the messy, complicated steps to get there all by itself. And the magic behind all this is a technology called smart agents. You can think of these as the real brains of the operation. They're not just waiting for your next command. They are these sophisticated little engines built to manage entire projects, like, say, planning a whole vacation for you, without you having to hold its hand every step of the way. But how on earth do these smart agents actually pull that off? I mean, how can an AI plan and do things in the real world? Let's pop the hood and look at the mechanics. What's so cool here is that it's this constant loop. It never really stops thinking. First, the agent makes a plan. Then it acts on it, using tools, talking to other software through APIs, or even clicking buttons on a website, just like a person would. After that, it observes what happened. And here's the most important part. It revises the plan based on the results and then starts the whole cycle over again until the job is done. Now, to run a continuous loop like that, you need some serious horsepower. So what kind of tech is actually powering Gemini 3.0 and giving it these crazy new abilities? First off, we're talking about sheer scale. This thing is projected to have around 1 trillion parameters. Now, this isn't just about having a bigger number for bragging rights. This kind of scale lets it see connections and patterns in data that are so complex, smaller models would just completely miss them. And then there's its memory. Gemini 3.0 is reported to have a 128,000 token context window. For an AI that's supposed to handle a long, complicated project, having a huge memory like this is absolutely crucial. It's what stops the AI from forgetting what it was supposed to do in the first place. And to really put that into perspective for you, we're not just talking about it being able to read a long book. We're talking about it having enough active memory to manage a week-long project, keeping all the little details and the main goal perfectly in mind the entire time. It's a game changer. This little table here gives you a fantastic before and after snapshot. You can see the huge jump in every single category, from a model that could kind of control a screen to full-blown autonomous agents, from a normal memory size to a massive one, and maybe most importantly, from just seeing what's there to actually understanding it. Let's make that last point really sink in with an amazing example. If you showed an older model a picture of a broken bike, it might tell you something obvious, a simple description like, "The bike chain is broken." Okay, thanks. It sees it, but it doesn't get it. But Gemini 3.0, it's diagnostic. In the same exact test, it supposedly circled one tiny pin on the chain and said, "Start here. This pin is why it slipped." And that right there, that perfectly shows the jump from seeing to understanding. And that's exactly what an AI needs to actually solve problems. So a leap forward this big doesn't just change the technology itself, it changes the entire market. Let's talk about how Gemini 3.0 is basically set to rewrite the rules of the entire AI competition. You know, for years, we've compared AIs using these academic tests, basically like SAT scores for models. But with this new operational AI, the goalposts have completely moved. The new way to measure success isn't just about how smart an AI is on a test. It's about how well and how cheaply it can get a real job done in the real world. It's about value, not just scores. Now, that's not to say raw intelligence doesn't matter. Gemini 3.0 is expected to score around 90% on that MMLU test, which puts it right at the top of the class. But here's the thing, that level of smarts is now just table stakes. It's the minimum you need just to play the game. The real competition is happening somewhere else. And a huge piece of that somewhere else is cost. The analysis suggests that for certain big developer jobs, Gemini 3.0 could be up to 8 times cheaper than its rivals. I mean, just think about that. If you're a company that wants to automate thousands of tasks, that's not just a nice saving, that's a gigantic competitive advantage. And beyond just the cost, it's expected to be an absolute beast in a few key areas. It's being talked about as maybe the greatest coding model ever built because of that amazing mix of speed and low cost. And at the same time, it's still an unmatched winner in those tricky subjective areas like creative writing, all on top of a foundation of world-class reasoning. Okay, so this all sounds incredibly powerful, but the big question is, when is it actually going to happen? And what should we be doing right now to get ready for it? Well, the timeline is actually starting to get pretty clear. A sort of warm-up model which helps AI control a computer screen is already laying the groundwork. With some crucial hardware tests finishing up in late 2025, it looks like the target launch for the full Gemini 3.0 is going to be near the end of 2025, probably sometime between mid-November and early December. So, what's the game plan? For the CTOs out there, the advice is to start testing things out now with the precursor models to get your company ready for the shift. And for all you developers, it's time to start thinking differently. The job isn't just about writing the perfect prompt anymore. It's about designing those smart self-correcting agent loops that we talked about earlier. And that really brings us to the final and most important question. This whole shift from a tool you use to a partner you work with, from an assistant to a coworker, it's absolutely profound. The rise of an AI like Gemini 3.0 isn't just a tech story. It's a story about the future of work itself. And it leaves us all with one big question to chew on. When AI becomes your coworker, how is your job going to change?